Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Alpha Core HD Gaming and here we are for round number 5 of this F1 2016 McLaren Ultimate Career Mode. If you're enjoying this series so far, then please be sure to hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out, you guys. I've said this in every video, but it really does, so please, if you're enjoying it, then please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And also, if you haven't seen the previous races, then do go back and watch them before we get into this race, because I don't want to spoil them for you. As from this point on, we will talk about the race, the previous race of the championship, which were Australia, Bahrain, China and Russia, and how they've affected the championship so far. So if you haven't seen them, go see them now. And if you're still here beyond that point, then I can assume that you've seen the videos already and you're happy to proceed and happy to have spoilers. So going into practice 1, you can see we're doing the tyre wear test as usual. Sorry, the track acclimatization as usual. I think we're on the list of tracks that I don't like at the moment. So I think so far we've had like China is not one of my favourite tracks, and neither is Sochi, and neither is Catalonia. It's just if I was to race on a track or choose a track to race on, they're not tracks that I would normally pick out. But I think for that reason that these races have actually become better because of it, because it's made me have to practice more for them. So because I've had to practice more to get the lap time and get the car set up, then I've actually improved my kind of overall lap time and knowledge of the tracks. So because I've driven on them more, I like them better because I'm actually performing better on them. So it's an interesting thing, but yeah, I think it's the tracks that I've had so far that the ones I don't like the most are China, Sochi and Spain, but next is Monaco, and I love Monaco. So yeah, it's been an interesting season so far. And obviously last race, you guys have watched it. We finished in 8th place, which could have been 6th, but for a 3-second time penalty, and then Kvyat and Sainz finished right behind us, so it could have been an even better result, but let's not dwell on that too much, because we know that the performance of the car is getting better. So at this track, if your car's not set up well and if your car's not a good car, I think it's common knowledge to everybody in the world that if your car isn't a good car, that Barcelona's going to show it up. So that's why they do the test in Barcelona, to kind of give people a good idea of how good their car is. And I think as well at this track, Alonso's got sort of a little bit of he's raised up a little bit on his difficulty, so he's got a little bit of a home advantage. You see there we got a lot of points there, so we got a pass and perfect. We did our 10 laps and penalty free, which is good. So yeah, the setup isn't massively different to the Sochi one, but it's a different direction. So there is some things in the car that you can have as a baseline that don't really change too much, but then there's other things that really have to change. And that one of the main things is that Catalonia has very long sweeping right-handers, so you've got a long corner, so you've got to have the car stable for a long time, and you want it to be able to roll a little bit, is what I want to say, especially with the anti-roll bars. You don't want the suspension to be too stiff, because if you have the suspension too stiff and the anti-roll bars cranked up to full, then what's going to happen is the car's going to be very responsive as such, but it's also not going to have much give. It'll initially turn in very well, but once it's done that, if you go in high speed, you want the car to be able to sort of slide sideways, if I can describe that as well. But also you want the car to be very high downforce, so that's another thing you want. And especially if your car's got like a poor downforce, it's going to be showing up in Catalonia, because the corners are very fast and flowing. But also, like every track on the calendar apart from Monaco, really, it's got a very long home straight, and it's also got quite a long back straight, but it's not too long, so it's okay. But the main straight is pretty long, and if you're running high downforce, then you're going to be kind of a target on the main straight. So it's kind of finding that balance again between having a really good setup for the car for the middle part of the lap and also the final part of the lap, which it seems again like the first part of the lap's really quite fast and flowing. The second part of the lap's again quite fast and flowing. Then the third part of the lap is quite medium to slow speed. So the other thing as well is the car is kind of the track is kind of undulating up and down. You can see that as we came on the final corners. It's quite bumpy, and especially this is probably the most important part of the track, the final chicane. If you've got to get a good exit from that, and you've got to get the car really set up for that final chicane. That's one of the main things, because if you don't get out of that final chicane, you can lose a lot of time. You're talking half a second, and as long as you get a good exit onto the straight, then then you're going to get a decent run down the main straight. You can see here we're doing a long run on the hard tyres just to kind of see kind of what consistency the tyres have. And you can see we're doing pretty much nailing every lap, 2.7. And as we come to the end of the run, we've got less fuel, so we go a little bit quicker. Only 2 seconds off our fastest lap, which was I think set on either the soft or the medium tyres earlier in the session. So I think I didn't actually do the qualifying sim. The reason was that the tyre wear was just the time just wasn't there. The qualifying time they wanted to do in the qualifying sim was just too quick, and I don't know what it was, but we just couldn't match it. So I gave up on it and decided to, instead of go for qualifying pace, let's just focus on a race car and see what kind of race car we can get out of this race.
How are you? I'm just passing on your qualifying goals for this weekend.
So 9 for highest. So again, it's pretty possible. Beat Roman Grosjean again, beat Fernando Alonso. So pretty standard stuff as the previous couple of races we've had. We got to qualify 9 for above. I think it's possible again. I think around this track, because how it is, we're about a second and a half off the ultimate kind of Mercedes pace. So I think that we are losing about a second to a second and a half, and a lot of that is down to the engine. And as in real life, I think we are losing a lot of time. We haven't got the lightest car either, and the downforce of the car isn't fantastic, but I think it's the engine. It's really hurting us at this point in the season. But we don't have enough resource points to upgrade it, and we've got Monaco next, which doesn't really rely on the engine. So the next upgrade that we're going to bring is probably going to be the downforce upgrade for the race. So we're just looking at a few drivers in the pit lane, in the garages, talking to engineers. Esteban Gutierrez there, and a few of us. I do show you the setup here at this point, but don't pay too much attention to this because I go through it really quickly. And you can see I'm still completely undecided on what I want to do for qualifying. You can see there I'm actually fiddling with the front and rear wings, and that's me flicking through. And then we go for a quite we don't have too low fuel though, but here we go. So I'm going to show you the setup now, and the setup there you can see we've got with aerodynamics of a front wing of 8 and a rear wing of 8. Obviously this is qualifying part 1, so we're just aiming at getting through to the top 16 or 17 it is. Transmission 90% on throttle, because I found that and the 65 off throttle, I found that we needed that extra bit of differential grip from the transmission while we were coming out of slow speed stuff. It wasn't so much the fast stuff. Suspension geometry there is pretty much the same as in Russia, apart from the rear toe has been moved in a slight bit. And this is the biggest change. You can see the front suspension in Russia was 11 and 10. We've gone with 3 and 3, and also we've gone with 3 and 3 on the anti-roll bars, and 6 and 6 on the height. So we've raised the height up a little bit because it is a bit more bumpy than in Russia, and we want the suspension to have a little bit more give. We've also increased the brake pressure to 85 and 54% front balance. We've increased the tyre pressure as well. I think in Russia it was a little bit lower than that, but we've had to increase the tyre pressure to kind of get the best out of the car. And we've also gone a little bit forward on the weight ballast because we didn't want it to be too oversteery. So there's been a few changes to the car which have made the car a lot more stable, and it's took me a lot of time to get these kind of setups to work and to find the right settings to the car. But if you guys want to try them out, then feel free, because I'm sure they'll help you, especially if you're driving with a wheel. The things to remember though, you've got to be really gentle on the throttle and things like that. It's not just the actual setup. You've got to put the practice in with the laps. Give them some time, try them out, and see if they work. Qualifying 1, you can see there we got through comfortably. There was no chance we were going out there. So on to qualifying 2. Soft tyres, still a little bit of a twitch as we come out the final corner. You want to get the best exit onto the main straight here, because you're going to fling the DRS open and go flying down this main straight. Max Verstappen set the fastest lap at this point. I think we lose the most time down the straight because we had to go with the high aero, because if I lowered the aero and then through the rest of the lap we were losing even more time. So it was the aero that really kind of helped us out around the middle of the lap, and we couldn't really do much about the engine power. Alonso's getting held up a little bit. I think that's by Rosberg, and Rosberg kind of holds us up a little bit. We have to go around the outside, which didn't help us. We're 3 tenths down in the first sector. But that wasn't helpful in that corner for Rosberg to get in the way a little bit. So that has cost us a bit of time, but we are only in qualifying 2. So this is just to get through to the top 10. Obviously, this is the set of tyres we're going to start the race on. So we're not pushing too hard. We are actually going quite easy on the tyres because we've only got do one lap on them. So we're going a little bit easy on them. We're not giving it full belt yet. We will do that in qualifying 3 though, as you'll see. So you can see we're actually quicker than Alonso because we're keeping up with him and actually catching up with him. So that's around this lap, that was the thing that really kind of encouraged me, that I was seeing that Alonso was getting closer to us in front of us, and even he was pushing his hardest, and we were keeping up with him. So I thought, well, that's going to be good news. We're going to qualify ahead of him. So we'll see how that is when we come through the final 2 corners, through the chicane and onto the main straight. Heading onto the main straight now with the DRS about to open. Crossing the line, it's a 1:22.2, which is 0.878 off, which Alonso must have gone round again because he qualified slightly ahead of us, even though we were quicker than him on that lap. So it's qualifying 3. 2 McLarens in the top 10 there, as you saw. Alonso got through. So qualifying 3, this is when we give it the full beans and give it full belt, and basically have nothing left to give really. But saying that, there actually was quite a bit to give in this lap. We did make a couple of mistakes, so it wasn't the most perfect lap. But I don't think by going out again we would have actually improved our position too much. So we've got a little bit of grass there going around that turn, all the way down to 3rd. Nicely turned in, maybe a bit too nicely, but on the power, a little bit of a twitch, trying to get the power down 4th and 5th. I think we have a slight lock up here. Yeah, it doesn't cost us too much though. We get the car straightened up. A little bit of wheel spin, a little bit of back end swapper on there as we come out of that corner, but we correct it. Down to 3rd for this left-right chicane, up to 4th, 5th. Coming out of this one, you want to swing the car. It's blind over the hill, this one, so 5th gear and then up to 6th, and then back open the DRS. Make sure you don't run too wide and onto the gravel, because that could end your day. All the way down to 2nd gear, a little bit of a lock up, so we lost a bit of time there. I reckon about a 10th or a 10th and a half, something like that. Through this final sector, we gained a load of time here. This was a really good final sector for us as we fling the car into 3rd gear. It sticks perfectly, just going into that corner. And then down to 2nd, again, got the nose in absolutely perfectly. Swing it to the right, get the power down early, and then you want to be accelerating towards the line. You might get a little bit of a drama off that corner if you're in a too low a gear, but 7th gear, a 1:21.8, which is good enough for 7th place, which is ahead of the Williams and just behind Lewis Hamilton. So it's a very, very competitive lap. Pulled us ahead of the Williams. So we actually finished best of the rest. So you got Vettel, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Rosberg. We were a bit further back than we were in Sochi. Obviously, we were only 3 tenths off of Sochi, but you can see it's Barcelona, and it's where the car really gets shown up to be what it is. And you can see we finished ahead of both Williams, so we were the best car of the rest. So only the Red Bulls, Ferraris, and Mercedes finished ahead of us. And as the season goes on, we want to reel those guys in and just get past them bit by bit. So, rivalry update. I don't even know why we're against Romain Grosjean. We're absolutely destroying him. There's no point. You see there, look, we were 1.5 seconds quicker than him in qualifying. It's not fair on Romain because his car isn't up to it. He qualified 17th. He's not got a good car. Our car is now moving forward. So, we're going to listen to the voicemail, I believe, from the agent telling us our race goal.
Hi, guess who? I've seen the team's expectations for the race.
Like we couldn't guess who it was. Like we couldn't guess it was you, agent, even though it says the agent's giving us a voicemail. So I think that was to finish 9th or above, and obviously again finish ahead of Alonso. You can see there we put the downforce upgrade on there, so we spent our resource points on the downforce upgrade for Monaco. It's not going to help us in this race, even though if we'd had it before, it would be absolutely massive help for the race, but we haven't got it for this race, so that's unfortunate, but we're going to have it for Monaco.
What does the Spanish Grand Prix have in store for us today, I wonder? I hope we see some tight wheel-to-wheel action.
Some tight wheel-to-wheel action, yeah. Let's go for it, David Croft. But yeah, we're in Spain. Obviously, it's a well-known track for being high downforce. You need to have a perfect balance for the car. Not a lot of overtaking is done. Most overtaking is done down at turn 1 and also down at the turn 10 hairpin. But other than that, if you've not got a car that's got a good engine, then you're going to struggle. Middle part of the lap, you should be alright if you've got a decent car with downforce. But our problem, I think, in this race is going to be that we've got quite high downforce and not quite a powerful engine. And that is a beautiful shot of the Spanish Grand Prix track, of the Barcelona-Catalunya track. Another beautiful shot of the grid showing Hamilton obviously leading the championship of the last race and Rosberg in 2nd, Vettel in 3rd. Daniel Ricciardo there with his engineers and someone holding the umbrella for him to give him a bit of shade. Spanish grid girl with Sebastian Vettel's car, Sebastian jumping into his car there. on pole position. That's our teammate Fernando at his home Grand Prix. Obviously going to have a lot of support from the home fans, and we're going to aim to upset the party and finish ahead of Fernando again. There's no friendships between teammates in Formula 1. No friendships at all. And we've been told they want us to hold on to this position, which I really hope we can do. I hope we can get another strong result. So yeah, only a 10th behind Kimi there, and 3 tenths. I don't think the Mercedes performed as well as they could have done. We were way off Hamilton's pace though by about 4 tenths. And then you got the rest of the grid lined up. Those Toro Rossos are outside the top 10, so we're in a bit of a rivalry with them guys and Williams. We want to keep them behind us. I'm not sure where Force India have got to at the moment, but they didn't have the best race last race, so we're going to have to keep our eyes open for them. And we're just waiting for the formation lap to continue and start. And we're lined up there. See, we're 1 position back from last race. So last race we were just back from behind Verstappen, but unfortunately we're in 7th. So Hamilton there, the interesting one in the lineup. You see he's on the medium tyres, and there's 5 lights there, and we're away. We're away now. And Vettel seems to get a good start. We get loads of wheel spin again, and there's Alonso, gets a better start than us, and he actually sneaks out from behind us. We're trying to take a bit of tow from that Mercedes and also block Bottas off, but then Bottas steams up the inside. We have to give him room, and we touch wheels with Alonso. The onboard view is going to show just how crazy this is as we go around the first corner. Bottas is absolutely steamed away at the start, and he's got a monster start, and he's just ahead of Hamilton, who swings and nearly hits us. We're going to outrun Bottas. We outbrake him and turn in just in front of him. So despite getting a slow start ourselves, I think we're up to 5th place now. So we've picked up a couple of positions, and Hamilton's now jumped back ahead of Bottas. So Vettel, I think, still leads away, and Raikkonen there is in 4th place, I think it is, ahead of us. And you got a Red Bull and a Mercedes just in 2nd and 3rd. So is that Vettel in the lead, or is that Raikkonen? That's Raikkonen. Raikkonen has taken the lead of the race in the first lap, so I didn't see what happened in the first corner, but he must have really hung Vettel out to dry to take that position. So Raikkonen is leading the Spanish Grand Prix. Vettel in 4th place. So end of lap 1 going into lap 2, we're sticking to the back of Sebastian Vettel. And coming around that final corner, another lovely shot as we come out onto the main straight. You see the drag we get here. So lap 2, we're taking Seb on, and there's no DRS at this point, but because we're using slipstream from Sebastian Vettel, we got a nice run on him and took 4th place off him. He doesn't put too much of a fight up. I can't see what's going on up ahead, but I think Rosberg's having a look at that Red Bull, who I believe might be Verstappen. It might be Verstappen, I'm not sure. So on to lap 3 or 4, I think this is. You can see the run that Vettel got out of there. He's absolutely running out wide, and he's got such a good bit of speed down this straight. So lap 3, it's no, Seb, no. We can see we're wheel to wheel with him in the first corner, and we're just going to sneak around the outside. He nearly touched wheels, and we keep the position, which puts him under pressure from a Mercedes, who, it's Hamilton, sneaks around the outside of Vettel. So there's a little lesson of getting the move done, and Hamilton absolutely beasting us before we've even got near the first corner. You can see he's gone past. We try to steal a bit of slipstream from him, and sparks around the back of the car. And into turn 1, we're just going to follow Hamilton. We're between, so it's Raikkonen leading with Verstappen, Rosberg, Hamilton, and then us, and then Vettel. That's the running order at the minute, I believe. So yeah, I wish I had that Mercedes. He's on medium tyres and we're on the soft tyres. He's just absolutely done us in. He's so fast. So our job now is really to kind of just stick with these guys. And there's a little bit of a gap between Hamilton and 3rd place, but we're going to try and stick with him and see just how much we can stick with him for the next few laps. As in previous races, it's not really a fight between us and the Ferraris and Red Bulls. So if we do get under attack by Vettel, I don't want to put too much of a fight unless we can, unless it's a simple defence. But I don't want to put too much fight, and that's again a nice rear wing shot of the car. So Vettel on lap 5. This is coming down onto the back DRS straight, and we swing to the right to defend a little bit, and Vettel just moves up the inside there. So like I said, we're not going to defend too hard against him because he's in such a quick car, and we've got other cars to race. We've got Williams, we've got Force India, and we've got Toro Rosso to deal with. So we don't really want to be getting tangled up with Ferraris, who we know are probably going to run away at the end of the race. So we don't put up too much of a fight, and just we're going to try and stick with Vettel a little bit and use his slipstream in the next few laps to our benefit. So onto the main straight, we want to pull out a gap on Bottas now because we don't want to be... yeah, so lap 6, we're on, this is the hashtag GP2 engine because we're going flying past him. Obviously, you'll remember Fernando, it's one of Fernando's favourite comments in his car while he's racing in real life. To say that the McLaren Honda is a GP2 engine, and also that we've got he's never driven with less power. So our GP2 engine gets us past Sebastian again, who has another look but then decides not to make a move. We didn't really have a choice. We got such a good run out the final corner, and we had DRS and rich mix that we decided it was no point not taking the position back. We just had to do it. So we're back up to 5th place at this point. And we're coming into the final corner, and we've still got Vettel all over us. We get a little bit of slide on, which is going to give him a good opportunity to come at us again, because we didn't get a good exit. And yeah, I think this was in Spain. It's Spain where Hamilton went flying past Vettel, and Vettel came over the radio and said, "No chance. He's like a steam train." So that's exactly what Vettel is here. You can see we hang it on the inside and he just has so much more speed and grip and goes up the inside of us. And we have to shut the door at some point because we've got that Williams of Bottas looking at us there. You can see we have another look at Vettel, but then we have to settle in behind him because Bottas is so close. He's only a 10th. And I've just noticed there that the split times were 0.116 and 0.116 from us to Vettel to Bottas, so it was a bit of an interesting one. So lap 8, yeah, he's just too quick. He's just pulling away a little bit from us. We're managing to keep up with him, but he's just in a straight line. He's just a little bit too quick. I think he's turned his engine up a little bit on the straight. I think before he was running maybe standard or lean mix, but now he's just a little bit too quick. And lap 9, we're still keeping up with him. So I think he must turn his engine down for this lap because it's the same as the previous laps, apart from the fact that we're hanging on to him still. And again, lap 10, we get really close to him in turn 1. So our plan to stick with the Ferrari is working, and you can see we've got the Red Bull now of Ricciardo, I believe, that has passed the Williams of Bottas. So we're just sticking with Vettel throughout this Grand Prix and just using that Ferrari's engine to kind of block the airflow and clear the air for us. The safety car has come out, which means that we're on lap 12, and I'm not sure when we were supposed to pit, but it does give us the opportunity for like a strategy change here. I think we're in the pit window, so we may come in for new tyres, which gives us the opportunity to pit under the safety car and not lose anything really. So it's really like a free pit stop, so we'll take that when we can have it. So lap 12-13, so yeah, end of lap 12, we come in for the new tyres. And Verstappen, that was coming into the pit lanes, and he just gets released just in front of us. Marginally unsafe there. Our pit crew putting the tyres on, we've got a big gap there, so that's the Force India coming in. I think that's Perez behind us came in. And Palmer, I believe, in the Renault has stayed out, so that's very important for strategy. You'll see why in a little bit. So we're the heating engineer here, just heating our tyres up. A lot warmer than in Russia, as you can see, 96 degrees as opposed to 60 degrees. So we're doing a little bit of a better job keeping our tyres warm in this race. It does help that the track's probably a lot hotter and it's drier, and we're just coming through the final corner. This is just still behind the safety car. Some nice little front wing shots I like to put in the video for you guys. Lap 15, it's the restart, and we've got a Toro Rosso ahead of us. So it's got a Ferrari engine in it, is it? Or I think it's still a Ferrari engine, it might be a Renault, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's got a good engine in it. It's got a better engine than ours, and the restart is on, and we've got Palmer, who is working as a bit of a roadblock, and you can see there's a Mercedes back there. I think that's Lewis Hamilton and a Ferrari. So Hamilton and a Ferrari have got caught out by that safety car, and we are in 7th place, but the guys ahead of us haven't pitted, so we've made an absolute strategy dream here by getting that free pit stop on the safety car. I think the other guys pitted a little bit too soon and got caught out by the safety car. So we're just behind Kvyat and the Red Bull and a Force India. So we'll see how this goes for the next few laps. So there's a Toro Rosso, Force India, a Red Bull, another Toro Rosso and a McLaren Honda in a train. You see some absolutely fantastic shots you get from the off-board footage on this game. Really gives you a sense of the Grand Prix from that helicopter cam and stuff like that. It gives you some new perspectives of the racing. So we're on a brand new set of medium tyres, and honestly we've got the pace. We have a lot more pace than these guys ahead of us. The problem is that we've got a slow engine and our high downforce, so we're going to struggle because they've also got the slipstream from the guys in front of them. So it's going to be a bit of a problem trying to get past these all four guys ahead of us. So we're going to have to really hope until they pit, because I just can't see us getting past them in this part of the race. The good news is, yeah, welcome to the train. The good news is that Palmer is in a slow Renault for a majority of the lap, but he's also got a powerful engine, so he's going to be okay to hold these guys up a little bit. So even though these guys are holding me up, we need to make the best of the situation and kind of pull away from the guys behind us a little bit at this point. So you can see there the Red Bulls obviously got enough grip and power to get past the Force India there, as Ricciardo that was sneaks up the inside, or it may have been Verstappen sneaking up the inside of the Force India. So look, even with DRS and slipstream, look at this, even with slipstream, sorry, not with DRS yet, but you can see how those guys are pulling each other along the track. So look how far ahead of us they're getting on this, just off the main straight. We close right, this is an example here when we close right up to on lap 19 of just how much they pull away. So we don't get a bad exit off the corner, we get a decent exit, and we're going full belt and DRS, and it's the same thing. Lap 24, yes, please box, please go in and get out of the way, because you guys are holding us up so much. We have got a gap to Palmer, but we could be going so much faster at this point. And finally, on lap 25 is that Sainz pulls in, but he doesn't do it in a way that lets us through cleanly. He holds us up, which creates a big gap between us and the guys in front, so that you see there we got held up a little bit by Sainz pulling in front of us. Sorry, Kvyat in front of us. And now you've still got Sainz and the Force India in their own little mini train just ahead of us. So 1 down, 2 to go, and Hülkenberg and Sainz finally decide to pull in, which gives us some clean air, which is now our signal for sort of our hammer time, and it's a Spanish Sunday drive on lap 28. But it is our hammer time now. I don't know if we've got one for Lopes, but it's his equivalent of hammer time at this point, to start banging those laps in and pulling away from the guys behind on these medium tyres before our next stop. So lap 31, and you can see there that Red Bull in that got caught out by the first round of pit stops has now caught up to us a little bit, because I think Palmer has pitted. And as we come into the final 2 corners on lap 33, Ricciardo has closed right up. Again, I think it's just towards the end, after the middle part of the race, the front running cars can turn their engine up and have got more grip and things like that, and as they lighten up they do get a lot quicker. Whereas at the start of the race, if we're under fueled and a bit lighter, then the advantage that they have isn't so big when we're on a full tank of fuel. But then once they lighten up and turn the engine up, then it becomes a little bit of an easy race for them. So lap 34 and then lap 37, just some shots of us going around the race. As you see, Ricciardo just a little bit ahead of us. Lap 38 into turn 1. Lap 39, lap 40, we finally pit in. Our fastest lap at this point is a 1:25.9. And we're actually ahead of Hamilton still, because Hamilton got caught out by that safety car at the start as well, so he's in 5th place. But he's going to the end of the race, I think, so he doesn't need to pit again. So he's on the hard tyres. And now he's ahead of us on track now that we've pitted in. On lap 40, we've got Hülkenberg. This is the interesting part of the race for me. This is where we really had to sort of manage our pace and manage our gap, because we're in a really good position now. We're on a brand new set of medium tyres, which we have to make last about 26 laps. We've got Hülkenberg, who's just about 5 or so seconds adrift, and you can see that Hamilton's pulling away a little bit from us, but we're consistently banging in laps there just to build the gap to Hulkenberg, who's 5.6, and then he's 6.3, and we're on to lap, the same lap as the previous one. So lap 47 now. We've actually pulled out quite a decent gap to Hulkenberg. So it was really a kind of our way of saying to Hulkenberg, don't try it. We've got 5th place now, and we're not going to give it up. Especially after the last race, this is really what we don't want to see. We don't want to see Hulkenberg overtaking us at the end of the race and us losing position after being in such a good position all race. We want to make sure we bring it home this time round. So on lap 59.60, you can see that we're at 6.9 seconds ahead of Hulkenberg, but Raikkonen is forcing the pit, so I think he's had some sort of problem or some sort of incident with another car. And on lap 62.63, so on to 63 now, he's overtaken Hulkenberg and the other guys behind us, and he's 1.7 seconds behind, and he's around about 2 or 3 seconds a lap quicker at this point. He's on the same tyres, but obviously he's on a brand new set of them, and there's only 6 laps to go, so Raikkonen is just able to turn up his engine and just use all the life in these tyres and recover positions now that he's lost. He doesn't have the same problem that we have, where we've been on these tyres for over 20 laps now, and we've got the cars behind us that we've got to think about. So yeah, this isn't our fight. So you can see there we actually ease off the throttle and let Raikkonen through. There's Hulkenberg just in the background. He's dragging along a Williams, and I'm not sure if that's another Ferrari of Seb Vettel. But we've just let Raikkonen through there, and we're going to try and stick with him for a little bit. We've only got 3 laps to go after this, so our goal now is just to hold on to 5th place and just bring the car home, and not do anything silly in this final couple of laps. So there we are onto the straight. Raikkonen's just pulling away already. Lap number 64 now. And this is the penultimate lap. We're actually under quite a bit of pressure now because Hulkenberg's tyres are starting to come back. Obviously he's on the hard tyres, which will last a lot longer than ours, and we're on the medium tyres. And the final lap, you can see that Hulkenberg has actually been passed by a fast Williams and a fast Ferrari. So you've got Bottas and Vettel have passed the Force India of Hulkenberg. As we switch back to the onboard view for the final lap, you can see that Rosberg wins the race, so he's way ahead of everyone else, about 1:11 or something. I think he finished ahead of us. We're only actually a 10th of our fastest lap, but Bottas is absolutely flying at this point. Raikkonen's pulled 7 seconds on us, but Bottas and Vettel, you can see them there in the background. If we'd gone a couple more laps, they would definitely have got us, but as we're on the final lap, we're just trying to keep the car on the road, and you can see we're just outside our fuel target, so we've just got enough fuel to finish the race. So we've got the red fuel light is flashing, and there's like 2 or 3 corners to go now. We're coming to this final sector, half a second down on our best time, so we are still going pretty quick. It's just that I think Bottas is into the 1:23s at this point, whereas we're in the 1:25s. And there is only a couple of corners now literally to go, and we're coming to this final 2 corners through the chicane, left and then right, and it's 5th place in the Spanish Grand Prix as we head towards the line. You'll see I actually do celebrate because it was such a tough race. 66 laps around this track is tough, and we brought home 5th place, so I was really happy with that result, especially after last race where we finished 8th. 5th place was an absolutely brilliant result for us, and I'm so happy with that one. Mercedes again taking the win. So obviously Vettel was on pole, but he had a really bad start, and unfortunately he's lost out to the Mercedes this time. Like I said, I don't think they'd qualified as well as they could. Hamilton finished ahead of us, so I don't know if he finished on the podium or not, but Vettel finished off the podium. Raikkonen didn't finish on the podium, so here you go. So Rosberg won the race, Ricciardo finished 2nd, and Hamilton finished 3rd. So another win for Rosberg. He won in Sochi as well. So another great result for him. Not so good for Ferrari. Hamilton again in 3rd, so he needs to really start picking up the pace, and if he wants to be back in this championship, he needs to start winning some races again, because I think he may still be leading, but he's not won a race in a couple of races now. So there you go, that's the result. 1:07 behind the leader, as we finished a second ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Fernando finishes in 10th place, so gets his first point of the season in the Spanish Grand Prix. He only finishes 4 seconds behind us. We were on slightly different strategies, but a great result for Fernando to get 10th place and get his first point of the season. Let's have a look at the so Rosberg 25 points. We got 10 points there, and yeah, David Croft mentioning that we had a strong result there, 5th and 10th place, so it's our first double points finish of the season. That is the Drivers' Championship there, the race results. Sorry, I'm just showing you the cars there and who didn't finish and who finished a lap down and things like that. So. That's the Drivers' Championship. Hamilton's still leading, but his lead is now cut to 5 points. We've now jumped Valtteri Bottas. We're on 24 points. Vettel drops down because of his bad result. Kimi Raikkonen actually moves up. Verstappen down a little bit. Alonso up to 15 for his 1 point, so that's a great result for him to move up a little bit. And again, we're getting another good mention there from David Croft about our performance in that race. Another good result for McLaren. Constructors there, we've actually moved back ahead of Toro Rosso, so we've repaired the damage that was done last race, and 100% clean lap and penalty free. So if you remember last race, we had the penalty and it wasn't a fully clean race. 100% clean and penalty free, and this must be us winning the rivalry. We have to have won it by now. Come on. No, we're not there yet. 27 out of 30. The only thing that Grosjean has is that it was penalty free. And so we're still second driver, so we're going to have some words with our team boss soon, because this can't keep happening. We're absolutely dominating Fernando, and we at least need to be given an opportunity to move to first driver soon. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out, guys, and just thought I'd let you know you guys have been amazing again, and I'll see you soon in the next race in Monaco. There is our downforce upgrade. Bye-bye.